Hi everybody, it's Andre Regan from MS Solutions Trade again. Hope you are all well. Thank you for joining me once again. Um, in the recent past, we've spoken about a number of topics: communication generally, dealing with information in a crisis, and leadership in a crisis. But what do we mean by that word crisis? So today we're going to try to answer the question: what is a crisis? We're going to also look at what are the main types of crisis, which ones you should prepare for, and finally, what are the principles of crisis management. Okay, so first off, what is a crisis? So a crisis is how you define it, but there are a number of different definitions, and one here is a definition of an abnormal or an extraordinary event or situation that threatens an organisation or community and requires a strategic, adaptive, and timely response in order to preserve its viability and integrity. In other words, it hits at the very heart of what that organisation, company, or business is all about. It normally requires more than the usual means of operation or organisational structures to deal with it. In other words, it is certainly not business as usual. It is something very unusual, out of the ordinary, as it says there, extraordinary, abnormal. Something very, very different at the very heart of what you're about. It could be something new. It could be something familiar, but at a more rapid pace than normal. Or it could be almost a perfect storm, a combination of several events, small events even, but everything combined together is just too much going on at once. So let's have a look at this picture here. Here you have a, a burst water main. Let's assume there's water coming out of the pavement. So is this an incident? Is it a disruptive event? Or is it a crisis? Or is it business as usual? Well, for someone who wants to go from A to B and it affects their travel, this could be a disruption or an inconvenience. If it's near to somebody's home or their work and it's causing them access issues, affecting those, then this could be an incident. If it's somebody who relies on that water for their health or their business, this could actually be a crisis. But then take the water company themselves. This might just be business as normal, business as usual. It's an everyday occurrence, unfortunately. Old systems, crumbling infrastructures, and it happens. And they just deal with it and they put their processes in place. So, if we take a look at this particular incident, this was a major flagship of a budget clothing retail shop during its opening launch week. Obviously, a big fire, big flame. So, is this an incident, a disruption, a crisis, or is this just business as usual? Well, yet again, if you look at the number of emergency service vehicles there, there's clearly some disruption in that area. So it's going to inconvenience you or disrupt anyone travelling, either travelling to or through the area. If you have access issues because you work there, you live in that vicinity, it could be that this is an incident for you. I mean, furthermore, it may affect other businesses, not just that business that's on fire, but other businesses, because suddenly customers who you would expect through normal footfall are suddenly locked out. They're not going to pass. They're not going to be passing trade as you would want them to be. And I would suggest that in this incident, this is a major impact on the shop itself. They would have seen this as a crisis for them, their staff, customers, and maybe other stakeholders. But for the firefighters, the firefighters are trained to deal with this type of incident. And whilst it's not what they would expect as a routine deployment on a daily basis, it's well within the scope of their training and their competence. So again, they might well see this as business as usual. So in a nutshell, a definition of a crisis is subjective. It's down to your interpretation or that of your organisation. Now you can call an incident, a disruptive event, a major incident, a critical incident. You can call it Trevor, but fundamentally it is something serious, or it has a serious impact on what you do or what you're trying to achieve. So, we would suggest that MS Solutions training, there are two major types of crisis. One's a sudden crisis, such as a fire, a flash flood, an earthquake, a serious accident. That's where you see the impact in front of you. It's obvious. It is obvious to those around you. It could also be what we call a smouldering crisis or a slow burn, where the impact creeps up over time. This could be things like your IT virus, a pandemic. Obviously, we've all experienced COVID-19 and the effects and the impacts of that. Food safety, developing weather, climatic conditions are changing, we know, throughout the world for a number of reasons. And incidents happen time and time again in terms of frequency and severity. So what are the major types of crisis or serious disruption or serious incident or Trevor that you should be concerned about, that you should be prepared for? We would suggest it's what's called the Big Ten. So this could be a loss of a major physical asset, a building, a facility, something physical. Could be a loss of a key service or a utility. It could be a loss of IT, and as we know in this technological age, everything pretty much runs around IT or is IT dependent in some way, shape or form. It could be a loss of key personnel or a subject matter expert within your organisation. You know, if Betty in accounts or Brian in operations suddenly goes sick or is absent, and they're the font of all wisdom and knowledge, then you've lost that capability because it's locked in their heads. Could be supply chain, partnerships, relationship issues, because as we've seen, it may not just be something that's happened to you, it's something that's happened to those who you rely upon or they rely upon you. Could be a serious accident in terms of injury or damage. Denial of access. This is interesting because this is where you may have no control over this. It's caused by a third party issue. You may have, for instance, a fire at a neighbouring premises. Well, that's unfortunate for that neighbour, but what it may mean in the picture we saw a short while ago, suddenly you can't get to your premises, you cannot trade, you cannot move the goods in and out that you want to, and so on and so forth. Epidemic, pandemics, product related, this could be about recalls, contamination, blackmail issues, a whole raft of different things related to product and their safety. And a reputational impact event, whatever that might be, however your reputation or the reputation of those who you partner with or you supply chain with may be affected, because that's going to have a telling impact on you, possibly in the eyes of those outside observers. So we've defined a crisis in terms of what you think it might be or your organisation thinks it might be, how it might impact on you, how it might affect you and your partners and your other stakeholders. So then what we're going to do about it. So we will now look at the principles of crisis management. So put the health and safety of our employees and our contractors first, because you're going to do that because people are more important than properties. You'll assess the impact on other stakeholders and maybe the wider environment, your wider community, and especially if your business is at the heart of a community, it is deeply important that you consider that community impact. You'll try to gather the right people together quickly to establish a team that's going to deal with that situation. Now, some people call it a crisis management team, an incident management team, a serious incident crisis management team. It doesn't matter what it's called, it's the team that comes together with agreed roles, maybe in advance or on the day, to try to get control of what's taking place and to try to ultimately recover back. Crisis management is about getting hold of the facts. We spoke about this before, about dealing with the information of crisis and having that verified information. But then having got hold of those facts, it's what you do with it. It's about how you're ensuring that the information is shared not just accurately, but rapidly to those who need to know. It's about acting early, acting quickly. It's accepting that you may have to make decisions or make statements without knowing all the information. Very, very uncomfortable position, because you have to, because it matters that you have to make those decisions, make those statements in that information vacuum. If you remember, we spoke about information vacuums before. You're going to listen. Listen to what your stakeholders are saying. Stakeholders can be as wide and as varied as you want them to be, internally, externally. The people that matter. Listen to what they're saying, especially if they come with expert or subject matter expertise. And then you're going to try to get the messaging correct and quick, because you want to make sure that those who are listening to you receive the right information, receive the right message. You want to be open and you want to be transparent. Don't be afraid to recognise that you're in a crisis and share the facts with those who are impacted. Of course, there will be times when you have privileged information you can't share, or you shouldn't be sharing, or it's inappropriate to share. But be open and transparent about what you're dealing with, how you're trying to deal with it, and how you're trying to understand. And have a prepared mind. By that we mean prepared for the unexpected, not just prepared for every eventuality. You can't do that. Crisis situations, as we saw earlier, they're abnormal, they're complex, they're difficult. There's something there that you're not used to dealing with. They're out of the ordinary, they're outside your daily business. So accept that and have that prepared mind, along with the openness and everything else that goes with it, to accept that you may not know all the answers, or your team may not know all the answers. Okay, again, another whistle stop micro talk. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this short talk. All the material, as always, has been taken from the Crisis Management course, which is written and delivered by MS Solutions Training. In a short while, we're going to show you a short video just to reiterate how MS Solutions Training can help you, your team, and your business.
Hello. How do you feel when your organisation is forced into dealing with an unexpected or unthinkable event, and you have to deliver timely and effective responses? Being able to make positive, sensitive, and rational decisions at the most stressful of times is never easy, but it is part of a suitcase of skills that all effective managers should travel with. We believe that our products will help you pack the right skills to deal with any unexpected event. Here at MS Solutions Training, we understand what you could and will be going through, as we have been there ourselves and have the battle scars to prove it. With over 90 years of experience in both military and blue light services, we passionately believe that we can help you to make your workspace and the people within it a safer place. Do you have a vision of the future where you and your team can respond effectively to what's put in front of you? Then you are no different to us. We too have a vision, and it involves you. So for an honest, practical and sensible solution to your issues, please get in touch so that we can help you plan today for your tomorrow. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.
Yeah, again, thank you for taking the time out to listen to this talk. Um, Below in the script, there should be a link for the micro lesson that accompanies this talk, which you hopefully may have seen on LinkedIn. Um, Please look us up on YouTube, look us up on LinkedIn, like us, subscribe to us. Stay up to date with the latest talks, the latest links to other micro lessons. You can reach out to our contacts through LinkedIn and ourselves, and just generally you could find out more. Please again reach out to us if you want to look on our website. We are still in the process of developing certain parts of it, but please bear with us. But please take a look at our website, the QR code in front of you. You can screenshot, and that will also take you to our website. Yet again, I'd like to thank you very much for passing by. A whistle stop tour yet again on a small but important subject. But again, fundamentally, it's how you define it. It's about thinking about it in advance, preparing for the obvious things that may affect you and your organisation. Again, thank you and take care.